What's going on, everybody? Gormy here, back with another rebuild for FM23. This time, we're going to be rebuilding West Ham United. Currently, in reality, they are an absolute mess, not having anywhere near the season that they have in previous years. And right now, it looks like David Moyes may potentially be on his way out, which, I mean, hopefully they can get things back on the right track. But our goal in today's video, in today's rebuild, is to take West Ham as high as we possibly can go with them, which is going to be very interesting to see if we can keep some of the key players, especially Mr. Declan Rice. So if you guys happen to enjoy today's video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free, so why not hit that sub button. Also, at the end of the video, I'll be giving out some challenges for another 5 years for you guys to take over this save, which there will be a link to my Discord down below in the description where you guys can join the Discord and get the file for the save and continue this rebuild with West Ham United for another 5 seasons. But without further ado, let's get into season number 1. So the first thing I did with this rebuild is I rebuilt the staff because I feel that they definitely needed a much better staff. And one of the most important staff signings that I made right here was Mr. Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards is going to be integral in building our staff because I'm going to let him basically have full control of what our staff develops into. I mean, already it is looking to be pretty solid. Yes, don't have a great average currently, but given time, if these people develop the way that I think they'll develop, all this is going to be going gold. Also, only made one player signing. That player signing was Mr. Andreas Sheldrup because I plan on playing a 4-2-3-1 system. You guys will see it here in a moment, but Mr. Andreas Sheldrup can play on the left lane, can play center attacking mid, or he can play as a striker as well. And I mean, he is one of the top wonder kids within the game, fairly cheap. We didn't have a whole heck of a lot in the transfer budget, basically spent everything that we had in order to get him. But I mean, just looking at his base attributes already, the kid's an absolute baller, and I hope to be able to keep him around here the entire time and no big clubs come sniffing for him. So here is the system we are going to be playing for season 1. We're going to be using my 4-2-3-1 Joker tactic. It actually is, in my opinion, the #1 tactic that I've done this year so far, which I have a top 5 tactics video that just came out recently. So if you guys like to check that out, I'll be linking it down below in the description. But this tactic, I am hoping, is going to allow players like Scamacca and Sheldrup to really succeed. And one player, the only player that I'm going to be plugging in playing every single game, is Mr. Andreas Sheldrup. I want him to play every single game possible because I see him as the focal point that we're going to build around. Yes, of course, we have Declan Rice and Jared Bowen, but we want to make sure that the wonder kid that we brought in is going to become as good as possible. So after hitting on all of that, I guess without further ado, let's see how we do within season 1. So, had to stop actually midway through season 1 because we had some injuries, but also we had a player that was set up to leave. I did not want to lose him, but there wasn't really much that I could do due to the club that was interested in the player, so I had to sell him. And that player was Mr. Jared Bowen. He was wanted by Manchester City, and I could not stand in his way of going to Man City. So we sold Jared Bowen for £55 million. We also sold Mikel Antonio as well. And Antonio ended up going to Brighton Hove Albion for £11 million. So we had quite a bit of money to play with, and I think that I added some very good youngsters. The first of them being Mr. Cole Palmer, which I was really surprised that I was able to lure him away from Man City, and I'm glad that as of right now he does not want Man City type wages. We're paying him $82K a week, still pretty high up there, but at least he doesn't want over 100K just yet. So bringing in Cole Palmer, I mean, Man City took one of ours, we took one of theirs, and I mean, having Cole Palmer, who's going to be a playmaking magician, hopefully, with Andreas Sheldrup feeding the ball in to Scamacca, I think that this is going to be a very good front three, and then we'll have Paqueta and others playing that center attacking mid role. Now, being that we lost Mikel Antonio, we needed a backup striker to Scamacca. So I brought in Dion Drania Bellia, one of the most sought after players this year. He's another big type striker like Skamaka. So I was like, you know what? Why don't we bring him in? Didn't have to pay a whole heck of a lot to get him either. We are loaning him to Osijek for the remainder of the season, though, just so that he can get that regular playing time, because Skamaka currently is killing it. I'll show you what he does at the end of the season, though. I wanted to bring in a future center back for us, so I went and got Gonçalo Inácio from Sporting in Portugal for £28 million. I went and got another wonder kid that I have yet to have, and I was like, you know what, let's see what he can do. Brought in Oscar Gluck from Maccabi Tel Aviv, which I'm sure you guys are going to see him in future rebuilds on here as well. So he is going to be a player that, for right now, definitely going to be a depth option, but we are loaning him back to Maccabi Tel Aviv for the remainder of the season, and then him and DeAndre Nubello will be here come season 2, getting that first team playing time. Now, at left back, I definitely wanted to upgrade, and I wanted to go younger. So I went and got Tyreek Mitchell from Crystal Palace, and I think that this dude's going to be an absolute beast. He has playmaking ability, great defensive ability, and he has pace on that left side. And then for a project player that I do think I kind of spent a little bit over what I should have for him, but being that we have brought him to the Premier League, his pricing has absolutely skyrocketed. So I went and got Arsene Zakarian, who can kind of play wherever I want him to. He is an absolute baller. The main thing that I'm going to be worried about, though, with this signing is obviously, yes, we need to make sure that he progresses as a player, but he is Russian, and I do know that he can change to being Armenian, which then allows him to keep his work permit, but I hope that he does do that switch, because last year in FM22 he did it all the time. But that wraps up our business for all this money that was brought in. And just a little sneak peek, currently at this time we are third in the league. So let's continue, get down to season 1. So end of season 1, I'm happy. We finished in third. We get Champions League football. I mean, we obviously cannot top the likes of Liverpool and Man City because they're absolutely absurd. But I mean, just looking at Liverpool finished on 93 points, the Man City on 88. Next highest was us at 68. So a 20-point difference between us and second place. But I mean, hey, we did score 84 goals, which was third most in the league. So I mean, we're gonna get up there. We will get up there. But I mean, hey, first season third place compared to what they're doing in reality right now, I think all of West Ham would definitely take this. Now, there's 2 games that I would like to highlight really quickly. One of them being a absolute worldie of a game where we beat Man City 5-4. This was a very, very interesting game in that it really allowed Liverpool to kind of get that edge, and we helped them get that edge and being able to win the league by beating Man City 5-4 in this match. Like I said, action-packed. I mean, 9-goal thriller. There was a red card to Ruben Dias. I mean, Erling Haaland doing Erling Haaland-esque type stuff as per usual because he's a frickin' robot. But I mean, overall, we played very, very well, and this was Cole Palmer's first game back against Man City. Cole Palmer connecting with Skamaka there. Skamaka had an unbelievable first season with this tactic, as we see him laying the ball off to Vladimir Kufal right there, who scores a banger. And I mean, just looking at the playmaking ability within this side, I can definitely see why we were able to get a result against Man City, because I mean, yes, they are Man City, but we do still have a very, very solid side. Yes, we don't have the, I guess, facilities and things available to us, especially funding wise, that Man City have, but I mean, we have built a pretty strong team. And the second game I would like to highlight actually doesn't have that many goals in it and not till late. It's the Europa League Conference Final. We won the darn thing, so we got a trophy. And like I said, Mr. Skamaka had a very, very solid first season with this tactic in the Premier League. He had 27 goals and 6 assists in 37 games, but overall in all competitions, he had 51 goals and 52 starts, 55 total appearances because he came off the bench 3 times, but he also had 3 assists, 12 player of the match performances. He was without a doubt our star player of the season. And also checking on our wonder kid, Mr. Andreas Schelder, up real quick. He is already starting to improve a little bit. And I mean, first season overall in all competitions within England, 9 goals, 16 assists. We'll definitely take that. So to wrap up season 1, like I said, we finished in 3rd in the Premier League, and then we won the Europa Conference League, but we unfortunately got knocked out early in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So our job now for season 2, let's reload, get some new signings, and see how we do within season 2. So to kick us off for season 2, signing wise, we brought in a mainly depth option in Brandon Williams. He can play left back or right back. That's one of the main reasons why I ended up bringing him in. Then we brought in Sandri from Santos in Brazil, I believe it was. He's kind of a project player. Like, he isn't going to start game in, game out, but he definitely has some very decent attributes to him. And within time, I definitely think that he'll be a decent contributor to the side. I also hit up Cagliari and brought in Mr. Raul Bellanova for some more depth at the right back and left back positions. And I brought in another center back, Mr. Josip Sutalo of Dinamo Zagreb. I am hoping that he can become a very decent player for us. And there's 3 signings I'm about to show you guys that I was not expecting to make whatsoever, especially at the prices that I got these 3 players for, because unfortunately Southampton got relegated season 1, so I kind of rated them. And it started with bringing in who is most likely going to be our right back now for the remainder of this rebuild, Mr. Tino Livramento. I cannot believe that I was able to bring this guy in. I thought that I would have to pay upwards of 60-70 million pounds for him, but only had to pay 24 million pounds, and his market value is already up to 59 to 67, so absolute steal. Then I brought in another center back because, I mean, with all the competitions that we're going to be playing in and not having set players at the center back position, they're all going to be rotating. Mr. Mohamed Salisu we brought in for 16.5 million pounds. This dude is an absolute beast of a center back. If you guys have not had him in FM, highly suggest you check him out. And then for just 8.5 million pounds, we brought in James Ward-Prowse. So our midfield is going to consist of a rotation of Thomas Suchek, Declan Rice, and James Ward-Prowse. That is absolutely unbelievable. I'm really looking forward to it. Plus, he can apparently play all up and down the right side. So being that I do not have it locked at right back, he may play some games at right back. But I guess let's see who we're locking in to the tactic for season 2. It's going to be none other than Mr. Andreas Sheldrup once again, but Mr. Cole Palmer is also going to be locked in here. I want to see what a full season of those 2 locked in together can do playmaking ability-wise. I have very high hopes for him, so hopefully we can have a very solid season. Hopefully have a top 6 season, because yes, we did finish in 3rd, but the board are not expecting a whole heck of a lot of us, nor are the fans. They just want Europa League football. So I mean, finishing top 6, if we do that, we are A-okay and we still have our job. But now with that being said, let's get on to season 2 results. Well, we finished in 3rd place once again, but it was only due to goal differential, and it was by 3 goals. So we are darn lucky that we finished in 3rd. But gee, imagine that, Man City and Liverpool are still above us. They just flip-flopped this time around. Man City on 89 points this time, Liverpool on 77. So lower point total for both of them. Actually, Man City had higher, but Liverpool had lower point total for winning the league this time is what I meant. But Man City win the league once again. But there is a very surprising result in 2 other competitions that we were in. We found ourselves in the FA Cup final against Brentford, which we unfortunately lost 1-0 by a goal from Vitaly Janelt, of all people, which was really surprising because I love him as a player, and I hate that he had to do me like that. And then also, we made it all the way to the Champions League semifinal, where we unfortunately got knocked out by Barcelona. We lost the first leg 2-1, drew the second leg 1-1. Unfortunately, we did not have enough in the tank to get us to a Champions League final. Would have been absolutely nuts if we got there. And one reason why I think we did not get to that final is because Mr. Skamaka had a more down year this year, goal-wise. He only had 20 goals in the league, only played 21 games though. So he played 16 less games, and that is probably due to Dion Draniabello coming in. But I believe Dion had double-digit goals. So, I mean, we were getting goals from everyone, but the main man, Skamaka, was not banging them in like he was in Season 1. Mr. Sheldrup, however, though, within the league, had more goals and assists in the Premier League in Season 2, and overall, also had more goals and more assists. He had 14 goals and 21 assists overall. And Mr. Cole Palmer, overall, keep in mind, we locked them in both on the wings. Cole Palmer had 6 goals and 21 assists. So having them playing on the wings together, very good playmaking-wise. But this was our second season wrapped up, finishing in third again. Semi-final appearance in the Champions League, runner-up in the FA Cup. Once again, knocked out early on in the Carabao Cup by the team that we rated, Southampton. So let's see what we have in store for us for Season 3. So going into Season 3, made some big-time player sales. And I mean, Season 1, he was great for us. Season 2, fortunately dropped off. And then Real Madrid came in with an offer for him for, I believe it was over 50 million pounds. So I was like, you know what? We're going to accept this. So Mr. Gianluca Scamacca is now a part of Real Madrid. And another player that we ended up selling after he had a pretty solid first season. And I think we doubled, if not almost tripled, what we paid for Mohamed Salisu. We sold Salisu to Manchester United for 38.5 million pounds. And then after just one season, we sold Joseph Sutalo as well, as he didn't really do what I wanted him to. Yes, he had very limited playing time with all the other center backs that we had, but we sold Sutalo for, I think, 3 to 4 million more than what we paid for him. So made a profit on everybody. And then we also sold Mr. Vladimir Kufal to Napoli for almost 13 million pounds. We also offloaded Masuaku and Emerson as well. So we have a war chest to go have fun with money-wise. And I got to spend in that war chest early on. Brought in a new goalkeeper and Mr. Anatoly Trubin. By the way, I just forgot that I brought in Gavin Bazunu as well last season from Southampton. So we got Bazunu, Areola, and now Anatoly Trubin as our goalkeepers. So we have a great trio back there, and once Areola's contract is up, we're going to have 2 very solid young goalkeepers. And after I brought in Mr. Anatoly Trubin, I decided to go get Harvey Elliott, because why not? He can play central midfield, center attacking mid, right wing, left wing, striker, but hopefully he never has to play there because it's orange. But I mean, having Harvey Elliott, if we can have Cole Palmer, Harvey Elliott, and Andreas Sheldrup this entire rebuild, that will be absolutely fantastic. And then after Harvey Elliott, brought in Mr. Pedro Gonçalves from Sporting, which, I mean, these signings right now are banger after banger. So this is absolutely awesome. What's not awesome? Pedro's picture. It's like he's staring into my soul. And after Mr. Pedro, we went to Lille, and we brought in Mr. Jonathan David because, I mean, we definitely need someone that can outright play striker if need be. I mean, he can outright play any of the front 4 attacking positions. Brought in Pedro to kind of be an option up front, but Jonathan David is most likely going to be that main option up front for right now. So, I mean, having Jonathan David, who's only 24, that is a great signing. We then went and got a young center back, and a center back that I had not heard of. He's going to be in a video coming out very soon here on the channel as well. Mr. Leandro Morgalla, who originally starts off at 1860 Munich, found his way to Borussia Mönchengladbach, and is now at West Ham United. And I mean, this kid, I found him on the Next Gen Top 50 list because he was listed as Wonder Kid. So I was like, you know what? Let's take a flyer on him, see what he can do. So brought him in for a very cheap price of 12.5 million pounds. Looking at his attributes, he is well worth the money because, I mean, those physicals are nuts. Then brought in another center back, Mr. I believe it's pronounced Jaka Bajol. He is Slovenian, 25 years of age, from Udinese, and he is unbelievable in the air. That is kind of why I brought him in. Having him and Kurt Zuma back there together, 19 heading, 17 jumping reach, 17 strength. If you can afford this man, definitely bring him in your saves. And then we brought in another center back. I know I have a lot of center backs, but defense wins championships, and that's what we're trying to do here with West Ham United. Antonio Silva, brought him in from Benfica. So we have Gonçalo Inácio and Antonio Silva. So going forward, hopefully we can keep them here all 5 years, because then that is your center back duo picked out for your next 5 years as well, because this kid can become a world beater. Those were all the signings that I made though, and with all the signings that I made, I am only going to be locking in Mr. Andreas Sheldrup on that left wing. So hopefully he continues to develop, because he is developing. He's doing very, very good. He actually just won the Next Gen Award for the top wonder kid in the world. So doing very, very good. Very nice piece of business that we did there as well. So I guess without further ado, let's get on and see what we do in Season 3. Wow, what do you know? We finished third again for the third season in a row. This is really annoying. Liverpool and Man City are too freaking good. They are way too good, because they just when one of them doesn't win the league, the one that doesn't just reloads and then is like, okay, now we're going to win the league this season. Then the other club has an off year. Fortunately, we finished in third once again on goal differential, because Arsenal and Chelsea, us three, all finished on 72 points, but finished in third again. Champions League football again, which is great, bringing in that money to the club. And we actually scored the most goals in the league with 102. So that is absolutely amazing. I just saw we scored 10 total against Newcastle. I don't know what's going on at Newcastle. Apparently they're not spending that money well. But also, I'll just show you the other competitions all here on one screen, because we got knocked out in the Carabao Cup semi-final by Manchester City. We got knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Manchester City. And we got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League by, can you guess who? Manchester City. They won those 3 trophies, actually, all of them. And then they also won the Community Shield, so they had a quadruple. And then Liverpool won the league. So at least Liverpool did that, because that would have been horrible if Man City won 5 trophies and got even more money than they already have. Although we did, however, get payback in one game this season against Man City, because we beat them 6-0. 6-0. But apparently we can't beat them in any other competition, as they knocked us out and everything. But I mean, Pedro Gonçalves had a great game this game. So did Andreas Sheldrup. I believe he had 4 assists in this game, if I remember correctly. He was absolutely unbelievable. You see Harvey Elliott right there connecting with Lucas Paqueta. I mean, this is a really, really good all-around team that we have built here at West Ham United. I mean, you see everyone chipping in. Livramento playmaking as well. You see him connecting there with Cole Palmer. It gets played through. Jonathan David. David gets Sheldrup, and they embarrass them. And it's a good sign that we can do that in the league and beating Man City 6-0. It's just, yes, we are the 3rd best team in the league now. Hands down, finishing 3rd in the league 3 seasons in a row. Hands down, the 3rd best team in the league. It's just, we need to find something to get another trophy that isn't the Europa Conference League. You know what I mean? So now, we're on to Season 4. And honestly, I didn't make a single signing, because I truly believe with the season that we had, you give this team this season to gel, which, I mean, they all had to get used to each other last season. But you give them this season to gel as that same group, they, I think, can maybe pull off at least one trophy in something. I don't know if we can somehow magically win the league, if we can win a Carabao Cup, or if we can win the Champions League, being that we're in it again, or even the FA Cup. I want a trophy. I want something, that proves, yes, we are the 3rd best team in the league, because currently we are actually one of the top 10 teams in the world. So that is absolutely nuts. We only sold one player, that was Tilo Kehrer. to Hoffenheim. So we're going to rock with the same exact thing for season 4. Andreas Sheldrup on that left wing, because last season, let me pull it up real quick. In the league alone, he had 11 goals and 22 assists. Those 22 assists were massive because that led to us scoring 102 goals. But overall, he had 18 goals and 32 assists on the season. So the kid is absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, now at this stage in his career, he is only 21 years of age. Yes, it doesn't look like his attributes have gone up like an insane amount, but his potential, he'll get to like 4-star current ability, and then it'll reset to 3, and his potential will go up again. So it's like he's just continuously getting more and more like the robot Erling Haaland, but the playmaking version. So definitely try and bring this kid in to your saves. But I guess without further ado, let's see how we do in season 4. So I may have been wrong on not signing players. We maybe need to have signed some people, because we finished in 7th in the league, qualifying for Europa League spot. But for some reason, even though we were top 10 club in the world, the board and fans are still like, Europa League football is fine, so we'll take it. But we did finish there because of 2 reasons. We were busy elsewhere in other cup competitions. And no, unfortunately, it was not the Champions League, because Liverpool won that over the team that knocked us out in the quarterfinal, Real Madrid. We were busy finding ourselves in a Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, where we did go up early with an early goal. But then you see us playing around, being absolute morons in the defense, and Luis Diaz scores right there, which is unfortunate. I mean, this team that Liverpool have are absolutely absurd, as we see Mo Salah fly down the wing. I don't know what Anatoli's doing right there. Thiago Jota slots one home, so they're now 2-1 up. And then Luis Diaz is going to do Luis Diaz things with finding a great play. Oh yeah, they have SMS and Mr. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic on their side, so we're now down 3-1. And Asio gets one back, so we kind of have hope. And then they score again right here, and we lose the Carabao Cup, unfortunately. We also found ourselves in a FA Cup final, which, I mean, very nice that we got into 2 finals. But we go down early. I mean, very early. But we get one back very late. Through a pen. Through Thomas Souček. And then Lucas Paqueta finds Nikola Vlasic out of nowhere, who came on as a late sub. He slots one home. Then Christian Eriksen ties it up again. And we go to extra time, where Pedro Gonçalves finds Jonathan David, who finds Nikola Vlasic, and dinks the keeper to put us up 3-2 in extra time. Then we see Jonathan David here with the ball again. Pedro Gonçalves trying to find Nikola Vlasic again, which he does, puts us up 4-2 now in extra time. And we have another highlight here where Lucas Paqueta finds Pedro Gonçalves, who hits a post, and Nikola Vlasic has 4 goals after coming on as a substitute. And we win the FA Cup final by a score of 5-2, as you guys can see up here in the top left corner. So, all in all, with season 4, kind of all over the place. We underachieve in the league. We get knocked out in the quarterfinal by Real Madrid, constantly getting knocked out by top level clubs, whether it be Liverpool, Man City, and Real Madrid. Those are the 3 teams that have knocked us out and everything, and then also Barcelona. So, I mean, 4 of the best clubs to ever do it, ever. And then we also get to a Carabao Cup final where we lost 4-2 to Liverpool, but we got a FA trophy, which I'm very, very happy with. I said at the beginning of the season, I wanted some trophy to show that we are a top 10 club in the world, that we are a top 3 team in the league. Unfortunately, we dropped off in the league, but we still are a team that is up there for sure. So we just got to make sure that with whatever money we got, we reload and we bring in some players to be some big time game changers for us in our 5th and final season. Also, real quick, Andreas Sheldrup only had 9 goals, 10 assists within the league, but overall 17 goals, 22 assists overall. Cole Palmer underperforming, unfortunately. So into our 5th and final season, we only sold 2 players. We sold Alphonse Areola, Alphonse Areola, there we go. We sold him to Rennes, which surprisingly Rennes had become like one of the best teams in France somehow, someway. I don't know how they did it, but they're really freaking good now. and that is where we offloaded him to for 10 million pounds. And then we sold Mr. Diandrenia Bello, which unfortunately he never really hit the ground running. Yes, he was kind of like our Divock Origi, where he was kind of like a cult hero. He would come up with important goals when we needed them, but he was never really one of those players that was going to be a league winner for us. I mean, with all the other players that we brought in, kind of understand why, because there was better quality. But I mean, he's going to FC Midtjylland for 11 million pounds, so good luck to him. And being that this is our fifth and final season, I wanted to bring in some big time scoring power, and boy did I, because we brought in Julian Alvarez, not from Man City though. They sold him to Lazio after he left after the first season because he didn't get enough playing time. He told Pep, I'm out of here. He went to Lazio, and now he is here at West Ham United. Dude's an absolute baller. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do for us, because he's only 26 years old. So, I mean, he's going to be entering his prime soon. And, I mean, looking at his attributes, very solid striker who can also play, I mean, anywhere in that front four. And then we brought in a new gen, Mr. Berkant Korku, who is one of the top wonder kids within this save. He is absolutely unreal. Bought him from Schalke for a whopping 75 million pounds. But you can see from his attributes, this dude's nuts. He's 6'2", left-footed, 17 acceleration, 17 pace, 15 jumping reach. Not the greatest heading, only at 11. But he's got the holy trinity in dribbling, finishing, and first touch. He can play any of the front four positions. This dude is the next talisman for this side. I mean, having him with Alvarez and Jonathan David playing up top. Pedro Gonçalves can play there as well if ever needed due to injury. So, I mean, this side is very, very dangerous, because there's one main player that you haven't heard me mention whatsoever recently, and that's Mr. Declan Rice. Mr. Declan Rice, still here. He never left. I don't know how I've been able to keep him here. I guess it's because we have been getting nonstop Champions League football. And I mean, he is just kind of committed to the thought now of, okay, I'm going to be a one club man. So, I mean, he's now the best player at the club, hands down. I mean, mentally, probably one of the smartest players in the game at this point. 27 years of age now. Value between 96 million and 105 million pounds. Dude is an absolute baller. He's been playing the ball-winning midfielder role. I mean, doing great at it as well. Playing that deep line playmaker role as well when needed. So, I mean, being able to have kept Declan Rice this whole time is definitely pivotal in why we have done so well. But, I mean, with all these other players that we have at our disposal now, it's kind of unfair that we have him, as well as Harvey Elliott, who looks like this now. I mean, apparently he's done growing at 23. I don't think he is done growing. This dude has been balling out for us, playmaking wise especially. I mean, he could play any position that he feels like it as well. I mean, bringing in the strikers that we brought in as well. This team is poised to get back to the top. Hopefully they can do it. And hopefully I have a boatload of money to leave you guys going into your first season in charge once we end things here in Season 5. So without further ado, let's see how we perform in Season 5. Well, I have some good news. I also have some not so good news. So I guess I'll give you the good news first. So we brought in that Wonder Kid striker. Dude's absolutely unbelievable. He won the Next Gen award. He is the #1 Wonder Kid in the world. But we now also have number 5. And we also have number 15 as well. Number 5 is this right back who can also play center back and or left back. He's 5'11", so keep that in mind if you want to play him at center back. But he is strong with both feet. Dude looks very, very good. He's going to have crazy good mentals, crazy good physicals. I mean, he's got 15 marking, 15 tackling, 13 passing, and he's 18 years old. So, I mean, having him as an option going forward for all you that are taking over the save, absolutely amazing. And then we have Riccardo Padovani, who I ended up bringing in from Atalanta for reasons you will see momentarily. He looks absolutely freaking ridiculous. And what's kind of funny, The right back is number 5 in the world. Padovani is number 15. But you look at him, he's just as freaking good as the striker. So, I mean, having these 3 to build around, you're set, man. But like I said, there was some bad news. We lost Leandro Morgalla, who was a pretty solid center back for us. Could also play right back and defensive mid, but we didn't even play in defensive mid. But he would play center back, right back for us. Sold him to Bayern Munich. And then we also sold Jonathan David to Benfica for 42 million pounds. Morgalla went to Bayern Munich for around the same, I think. And I mean, when a German giant comes calling for a German player, they automatically want to go. But Jonathan David also wanted to go to secure better playing time, so that is how we got the Wonder Kids. Also meant to mention, brought in another Wonder Kid, Giuseppe Scarlino from Brescia, and Dario Tejedor from Las Palmas. But with the center back leaving, with our backup striker and Jonathan David leaving, everyone kind of started to kick off the season, especially Mr. Cole Palmer, who is now he isn't one of my worst enemies. His agent is, because he wants $300K a week, and that's not happening. That's higher than anyone at the club. And it kind of had a massive impact on how the team performed. We unfortunately finished in 6th place. And even though we finished in 6th place, we don't have continental football, which I will show you why in a moment. But first I want to highlight that Sheffield United are back up in the league and finished above us. So I have no idea how that happened, man. With Carabao Cup, we ended up losing to the eventual winners, Chelsea, in the semifinal, where we straight up got outplayed through 2 legs, losing 4-0. And then we were in a all-English Europa League final, which if we won it, would have seen us get Champions League football. But Newcastle decided that, all right, we're going to show up this time and we're going to win the trophy. And that's what they did, unfortunately. Which, I mean, looking at their side, you would think that, with players still like Bruno Guimaraes, Mark Guehi, Samakin, Zaniolo, Esposito, Sangare, Thiago Costa, who now is actually the best goalkeeper in the game, Alexander Isak's still there, Christian Pulisic as well. Yeah, it's understandable that they were in that final, but with the side that we had, I don't understand how we lost. So it all came down to that, to potentially rescue Champions League football for us in our final season. Another thing on the bright side, we won the Community Shield, which means absolutely nothing to anybody. So that's great. But overall, the rebuild, I feel, went decently pretty good, I guess you can say, because the expectations by the board were never insane. The last good thing that I can say about this season is that we are in the top 15 best clubs in the world still. So I can proudly say that we are in the top 15 for best clubs in the world, which going in, that wasn't really a goal that I had set personally for this rebuild, but getting West Ham to be a top 15 club in the world, that's absolutely insane. So to start wrapping things up here, I would say that this was a successful rebuild because we have them as a top 15 club in the world, which I didn't think I could get West Ham to be, and somehow I found a way to do it. We won an FA Cup, which I'm very happy with. Yes, we didn't win the sexy continental trophies, but we still won the Europa Conference League, so that still is a trophy. And then we also won Captain America's Shield, but the British version, the Community Shield. So we added 3 trophies to the trophy cabinet. We have them as a top 15 club in the world. We have an incredible future for this side. There is definitely some improvements to be made, but I think I started sending it in the right direction for all you that choose to take over. Is right here with the Joker tactic. This is what I would consider to be the best 11 on that field right there. They if you give that team time to develop for a couple seasons, unfortunately for players like James Ward-Prowse, his career is starting to come to an end as he is now over 30. But I mean, this side has some crazy good talents in it. And Burkent Korku, Andre Sheldra, Padavani, Harvey Elliott, Declan Rice is still here. You got Silva and Inacio in the back, Livermento and Tyreek Mitchell. You also have that new right back as well. You got those other wonder kids coming in. So, I mean, it's definitely a very fun project to take on. So to wrap things up here, my 3 challenges for you guys. Try and win a continental trophy. Do your best to. Try and topple Liverpool and Man City within the league, because unfortunately we could not do it. I hope to do so in the future with future rebuilds within England. And then hold on to Burkent Korku, the wonder kid striker, because he's already wanted by Real Madrid and is worth over 120 million pounds. So if you can pull those 3 off, please let me know. Put it down in the comments below. Hit me up in the Discord. Let me know that you did it as well. Once again, the file for this rebuild will be down below, linked in the Discord if you guys wish to take it on. If you guys happen to enjoy today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is 100% free. Just want to hit that sub button. And until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.